unfortunately not going to be playing a game of Into the Black. Gemma is not feeling super well, so we wish her all of our love and support and hope that she feels better. We, however, do also like each other's company,
Hello, everybody.
so we're going to have a little roundtable where we just hang out and talk about whatever. I guess I'm
Hello.
hosting tonight on my channel, Alpaca Lunch Games. Um, and I'm Felicity. My Twitter is at
We're all
RadnessFliss.
blue and rainbowy.
Yeah, we're all rainbowy and blue today, so there's a little bit of a different background. We're on technically a
As we
different
should
channel.
be.
We're on technically a different channel until Gemma starts hosting us on hers.
I had to grab my phone so I can see chat stuff.
No worries. And
Yeah, I just realized I should probably open it, so I have.
let's
We already kind of discussed this before the camera started, but did everybody have a good week?
let's go around and introduce ourselves first so that everybody watching knows who we are. Let's do this in sort of a different order this time. Let's start with LK this time.
What? No, what? No. That's wrong.
Well, I started, so I guess the next would be Kirsten, right? You just saying your name.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kirsten. I'm a human being that exists.
Madness. I don't know if we're going reverse order or regular order, but I'm Nick. I am also a human being last I checked.
Typically.
Hey, I'm LK, and today I won't be kitten, but I'll leave you with a phrase of my own. I think, therefore, I'm sleep deprived.
Very wise words.
And hello, I go by Ulfrig on the internet, and I am not a human being. I am actually a very sophisticated android.
And Potat. Just watch out for the Zatvash. That struggle is real. So yeah, I think the first question that I have for everybody is a question that I like to ask whenever I'm having a conversation with anybody during these troubled days, which is, what's your bright spot right now? Anybody can chime in. Just what's something good that's going on in your life? Anything. Kristen.
This is really silly, but I got my flu shot today, and I didn't freak out at the needle, and I'm very proud of myself.
That's so awesome. That is an excellent.
That is
bright
very
spot.
awesome.
Somebody else has to have something good that's going on.
I mean, I just got addicted to a cell phone game, so that's that.
That's
Are you
pretty
gonna
awesome.
say what game?
Fate Grand Order. I started 3 days ago and I'm level 51. Please save
Wow.
me.
Goodness.
Good job. I played that one for a little bit, but I'm awful with keeping up on mobile games.
I got it. If I can keep up playing for a month, I'm surprised, but yeah. Yeah, there's that.
I can go next. I got a little
I
crown.
just got the new Paper Mario because I decided I wanted to play something fun and goofy, and Paper Mario is cool.
Nice. That's awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say my bright spot these days are fruits and vegetables because my garden is producing pretty much from now, hopefully through about the end of September. And it's blackberry season for about the next month. And so I have just been eating like the most flavorful fruits and veggies that I will get all year. And it is delicious. And I want more of them. And I can have more as long as I take care of my garden and or go foraging.
Both good things. I just got this little crown for my cat. Currently, my Murloc is wearing it. It's small and gold, and my cat absolutely hates it, but I'm trying to teach him to love it by giving him treats and repeating the phrase, "Good boys wear the crown." So far, he hasn't taken to it, but we're going to get there one of these days.
Well, I wish you luck on that endeavor.
Well, I got it for him because I got him a new cat tree that is super tall. It's like over 6 feet tall, and now he only sits on top of it and lords over the entire living room. So the crown makes sense, especially because he's got like this fancy portrait of him on the wall behind him. I don't know how many people have seen. I've taken some pictures of where his cat tree is and put them up on our Big Universe Games Discord. And we're Big Universe Games, right? I want to make that. Yeah, okay. I'm getting
we are.
getting nods of affirmation. I was like, wait a minute. Is that actually what Gemma named her channel? Yes,
I
it
don't
is.
know. I couldn't understand what you said. I'm just.
Just nodding. I appreciate your support anyway, LK. Next time I'll make sure that I translate to Portuguese first.
I don't. It's just that for me, it sounds like you're saying. What was it that it sounded like? No, I completely lost it. Never mind.
It's okay to be tired. It's totally reasonable.
Yes, it sounded like beginner's game, and I was like, what? What's that?
I mean, there's a lot of them. I could find some beginners games for you.
Thanks, Nick.
My beginner's game that I've been playing recently is Lego City Undercover, and I am terrible at being a cop, let me tell you. I went through. There's a video up on YouTube now. It's probably boring as hell, and as I recall, you can't. The sound isn't good. That's something that I'm struggling with on my channel is the sound. So if anybody's watching and there's sound problems, please let me know, so we can figure that out. That is something that I'm super concerned about. Oh, we got a stream kitty. Stream kitty.
Yes, because she wants the pipe cleaner that I finally got from Poe after she stole it from me 2 hours ago. I've been trying for 2 hours to get this back.
But you have it.
Well, you
Yeah.
have it now, so Ray
Now I
wants to
can-
play with it.
But silly human, it's obviously a cat toy. Why would a human want a cat toy?
To try and fix my antenna.
Oh my gosh, I'm so used to seeing you without the antenna. I was like, when you got on stream today, I was like, there's something different about Kirsten. And I can't place
Yeah,
what it is.
about like
It's the first
4
time,
inches up here.
I think it's the first time I've seen you since. Well, I mean, I guess I watched you play Succulent Sorcerers with Sarah and Nick over on Welcome to the Party side quests, and you weren't wearing the antenna there. That was super fun, by the way. And I really enjoyed tuning in.
Fantastic and adorable.
Yes, thank you, Nick, and also Sarah for providing the puns. I was too busy Googling plant names and jotting down random words.
That's
I
the
mean,
life
you
of
know,
the
it's hard
GM.
to think up puns if you aren't doing it way in advance as a GM. Once you start running the game, your brain's doing 12 things at once.
We got to get LK over to Welcome to the Party. Just pull him in.
Sorry, what?
we've got to get you over to Welcome to the Party on one of the side quests. Come play some Glitter Hearts with us, or Tales from the Loop, or what's the Kirsten? What's the other one you're running?
Cyborgs and cigarettes, if I remember properly.
That sounds right.
Yes, which, despite the name, is not like a lasers and feelings hack. It's just its own system. It was just the only cyberpunk game in the bundle that had like the vibe I was looking for.
Cyberpunk
Ooh,
can be
Cyberpunk.
such a difficult aesthetic to get, because like the more, like, I've been sort of loosely following CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077, and because it looks great and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for HD Keanu Reeves all up in my game, and then like one of the game people who make the game is like, yeah, Cyberpunk is 2077 is not a political statement, and I'm like, you realize that cyberpunk as a genre is a political like all punk is political. You can't have a type of punk that is not political. It's inherently political.
Psst, so is all sci-fi.
So is all sci-fi.
I mean,
Don't
technically,
say
almost
that
any
loud, you're gonna
story
blow
is
their brains.
political.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Nick.
So Nick was saying that any story is political. LK, I lost what you were saying there. Can you say again?
Yeah, I just say that you shouldn't say that too loud. You are gonna blow their brains. They can't handle too much processing.
I am making a video for my YouTube channel whenever I actually finish a script that's literally called F the CIA, and it's just talking about all of the shady crap that the CIA has done. Sorry, Fliss, I know this is your channel. I should have asked about swearing beforehand.
I have plenty of swearing on my channel. It's fine. It's really just about like when I upload this to YouTube, is it going to be marked safe for kids or not? And I don't try and monetize because my channel is just super casual stuff. So
I mean,
and
kids shouldn't be on YouTube. It's 13 plus, so
I do want to point out too. Well, they are. My nephew is on YouTube and he's like 3, but I no, like, he's not a creator. He's not a creator. He just watches YouTube. Kids, they do it. But
no, I'm thinking, yeah,
I was on YouTube until I was like 10.
creator.
Admittedly, it didn't exist when I was really little.
but I do want to say a couple of things about YouTube. One is I tend to try and upload my good videos, which is usually my longer videos, to YouTube from Twitch. But since there's more than just me on the stream, I do want to make sure I have your permission to do that first, because I don't want anybody to be on YouTube that's like not cool with that. That's not really what Alpaca Lunch Games is about. And the other question that I have is for Kirsten specifically, which is, do you want me to put the name of your YouTube channel on the screen somewhere so that people can find that?
You can. I have only posted one video, but like, I'm going to do more. I have a script that I'm very excited about. It's just taking time because there's a lot of research involved.
I mean, here's the thing. If this is on YouTube, it's on YouTube until YouTube takes it down for whatever reason. So I could put the name up there, and then, a year in the future after you've made more videos, then they'll, anybody finding this video will still be able to find your video. So, you just gotta let
if
me
you
know.
don't mind, like, the blatant, like, promotion of me.
I don't mind at all. If anybody has something to promote, this is an excellent time to promote it. Anything at all. Definitely, I want to talk to Nick about his shifting Sentai, or not Sentai specifically, but Super Shifters RPG. That's something that I want to talk about today. But I don't actually know the name of Kirsten's YouTube channel, so I'm hoping when she comes back, she'll tell me.
sorry I keep vanishing. Poe managed to grab the entire bundle of, I forget what they're called now, fuzzy sticks.
Pipe cleaners, yeah.
Pipe cleaners. Poe grabbed the entire bundle of pipe cleaners. It's Kirsten curses about. Everything is spelled normally there.
Okay.
If she gets in again, I'm just not even going to take it from her. And she has it again.
She heard you.
She's learning too much from her sister. That's the problem, I think. Ray can be a little mischievous, but Ray's been really sweet and lovely and laying on my chest. So now Poe is just pure chaos.
Okay, so you told me, and I got 2/3 of it. It's Kirsten curses
About.
You could have named it Kirsten About.
Yeah, but like...
Nice one, Dad.
Hey, I don't make these jokes for you. I make them for me.
Also, that one
Someone's
was
Dad.
really solid.
Doesn't matter who.
All right, that should appear now on the overlay underneath Kirsten. So,
Ooh, it does.
yeah. Super fancy OBS work.
I did send you my Twitter in PM if you want to add it, please.
As everybody can see, I'm using my second screen here.
Oh no.
Shazam! How's that? Does that look right? I've got 2 full screen applications on both of my screens, so switching windows is a little bit wonky. I'm not experienced with running a fancy Twitch overlay like this, so please forgive me as far as trying to produce it.
You are doing awesome.
But yeah, like I said, Nick has been working on a tabletop RPG that's a passion project of his, and I was wondering if he'd talk about it a little bit.
Yes, but I now know something I've been wondering about for like 3 weeks, so that makes me very happy.
Okay.
Which is who the person liking my random Twitter posts who I didn't know who the heck they were was.
What? Random person? There's no one. There's no such person. It was me, Dioda.
It was. It's shocking. However, yes, I can talk about my thing. I kind of am hiding a little bit about it right now just because I was reconfiguring things to make it a little simpler for like users, because that seems better than making things simpler for me. It's a tabletop RPG based around
Wait, what's a
I'm just gonna
tabletop
say-
RPG?
the thing I'm making.
No, I mean, what is a tabletop RPG? I'm not familiar with that concept.
Wait, I think I know. I think it's like a rocket that you put on top of the table. That makes sense.
No, it's like a It could be a rocket propelled grenade that you leave on a table, but that would be very unsafe. So I was going with the other definition of RPG, of a role playing game, being a game in which you play a role at a table.
Hey, Nick, you say dangerous.
Question:
I say a challenge.
is the table absolutely necessary?
Surprisingly not. It's usually just a good place to like set things on while you play.
Are you supposed to sit on the table or can you have a chair?
Yes.
What if I sit in one of the many gateways?
That
Well,
behavior
then you'll
is
be playing in
encouraged.
another dimension. So that'd be cool.
Or is that still a tabletop RPG, but it's a tabletop RPG?
Tabletop role playing gays. I like that. In fact, gosh, I wish I'd named my channel role playing gays.
Such a lost opportunity.
Does someone not already? Someone must already have that.
They must. They must, right? Now I'm gonna look up.
Like, if
Too
not, we
great
need
of a
to
name to
patent that or
not be
something.
taken.
Copyright it, trademark it, something.
Anyway, Nick, I was distracting you. You were talking about the amazing game that you are developing.
I don't know if I'm that far yet. At the moment, it's a game in alpha, beta. I don't know. Testing phases for tabletop RPGs are weird compared to video games or software. But it is a role playing game that you play at the table that is meant to invoke Sentai, Power Ranger feels, which could also be very easily turned into Magic Girl feels, or about any other supergroup that transforms and fights evildoers while also having a life outside of being a criminal. Or outside of being a superhero. I don't know where the criminal part came from.
Yeah, but with no name association with those things, unless we want the huge Japanese hammer of copyright to destroy us.
I can mention Sentai in any sort of actual promotional material. Yes, Power Rangers will never be mentioned, but that's because of an American company.
Question: the shifting, does this include the ability to have big robots like Gundams or Voltrons, or any of the Zords from the aforementioned Unnameable show?
Yes, because that's very easy to just treat as another form a person has, especially in the shows that use them. It is very rare to see a Voltron pilot or a Sentai team member just like running around while the Zords are about. It does happen, but usually only in weird stuff where they grow in size for some random reason because, weird stuff happens.
I mean, that's what Rita standing on the moon and screaming is for, right?
Indeed.
I don't know, old Power Rangers reference.
Yes? Question mark?
So, how how many players can play this game at once? Is there an ideal number?
That is one of the things I hope to test on more because it's kind of a tricky thing to narrow down. Ideally, at the moment, my thought process is 4 to 6. With 5, I feel like being that sweet spot, mostly because that's usually around the ideal number of players, of main characters in that genre. Usually, you kind of just have side people who pop in and out beyond that.
If you had one hope for your game, what would you want people to take away from playing it?
My one hope would be that how important it is to be able to do things both in and out of combat and feel good that you can make changes of just like without being a superhero, as that's a huge important part of those genres to me, is that you can go and make a change in just your community without superpowers.
Whether you're
You can
practicing karate at the dojo or driving around in your blue Jeep with the open top or hanging out with your friends down on the beach, yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and also like the indie scene has it pretty covered now of not necessarily having games about combat, but like it's important that you don't always need to fight to solve problems. That's an important lesson that we all need to. Well, I mean, not the royal we, but like the all-encompassing we of the human race always kind of need to remember.
Totally, totally. Ulfric, you said you've been hiking a lot. Where have you been doing your hiking?
Well, I am fortunate enough to live in the Pacific Cascades out here in British Columbia, Canada. So I've just been going up into the hills kind of around the town where I live, and it's been absolutely stunning getting to, like, last weekend we went up and went down the coast a couple hours actually, because we could take a helicopter to Lake Lovely Water just outside Squamish, which was beautiful, if very, very crowded by Canadian standards. And then tomorrow, I think we're driving down to Whistler, and we'll be going for some hikes, probably around some of the peaks there.
Ooh, about how many miles or kilometers do you usually travel?
Not far. We are lazy hikers. We'll go for like 3 or 4 hours and be like, yeah, that's good.
That's pretty legit. Yeah, I need to get out hiking too. I've put on all the weight during this pandemic. Not that I probably wouldn't have put on all the weight even without the pandemic, but at least I have the pandemic to blame for it. So,
Well, I was losing weight, so I am blaming the pandemic 100%.
I'll take it. Kirsten, you're actively crafting something, but I haven't been following. I've been really bad at doing the social thing, and my Discord has been largely off for the past like 3 weeks. So I don't know what it is, the thing that you were holding up when you first joined our conversation that's driving you crazy. But I love your fingerless gloves.
Thanks. I just put them on because I have a fan blowing on me, but like my hands get cold. So I am working on a Tangled slash Rapunzel costume because I have a yellow headscarf that gives me massive Rapunzel vibes constantly. So I am going to try to show this one handed because I need to press tab. So here we have
Oh, I love it.
a blouse with, here's the sleeve that's actually finished.
Do you have? I know your
Oh,
mouth
that's
is full of
pretty.
clothes right now. Do you have a good cast iron skillet to go with that?
Okay, technically I do have a cast iron skillet, but I'm not going to lift that. Like I cannot really lift that one-handed effectively.
I think there are rubber skillets that you can get that are lighter significantly, and you can actually hit people with them without damaging their brains. So you might
Which, yes, please don't hit someone with a cast iron skillet.
you might look into that, especially because that might be fun. Even if it, in my experience, they usually look pretty realistic. But even if it doesn't look realistic, sometimes it's fun to boff somebody with a big inflatable balloon hammer or something.
I will probably look into that, like if I ever like wear this to a con. Right now my budget is fairly limited. Like the only thing that I actually bought for this is this shiny fabric that I'm also making the vest slash stays out of, and I am not looking forward to that because that's going to be interesting. And then technically, I bought the fabric for the skirt, but it was an old tablecloth that cost me like $3, so I don't really count that as buying it.
Practical upshot to a skillet is that if you wear that costume to any con, I don't think they'll make you check the skillet as a weapon.
They might
Okay.
still examine it just because big heavy things can be dangerous, but yeah,
Yeah.
I doubt they'll do too much to it.
I mean, if you showed up... Oh, there's another stream kitty. I gotta remember that if it appears at the edge of Kirsten's screen, it may not actually appear on the stream, so I should only call it stream kitty when the kitty is fully on. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying, so it probably wasn't important. Anyway. My kitty's right over here. Nope, he's back up on his tower again.
Now there's a stream kitty.
Now there's a stream kitty.
Hello, Poe.
Oh. He's so precious.
She is such a little darling. Oh, I know. You don't want to be held like that, but that's okay.
She doesn't like. She sometimes likes being held. She's much more of a curl up under the blankets type of cat. And no, you do not steal the pipe cleaners. You don't get those back.
I have a weird question as we move into our second half hour here, because I don't expect I don't expect to go as long as a full game of Into the Black, certainly, and we've got evenings that we can sort of claim to do other things that we may not have otherwise done, but recently I know. Ulfrig's Star Wars game unfortunately had to come to a premature end. So I am wondering if this crew would be interested in doing a tabletop RPG Star Wars stream that we could do, and we could talk about sponsoring those who need a copy of tabletop simulator to make sure that it got done. But if so, what kind of characters would you like to play? What kind of stories would you like to explore in the Star Wars universe? I don't want to put any kind of limitations to say, okay, this would be set in the Disney timeline, this would be set, in with these rules or those rules. The Star Wars universe is, to me, okay, so there's Jedi and light speed travel and bounty hunters, and I don't want to... all that Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader stuff is just all off to the side. We're going to tell our own Star Wars stories. That, I think, is the coolest way to handle the setting. And, there's an evil empire, and there are some rebels, and go get it done. So, I think... not to put any ideas on anyone or any words in anyone's mouths, my ideal game that I would run has elements of, you've got your person who's not really necessarily with the rebels, sort of like the Han Solo type, and then you've got your actual rebel who's like your Princess Leia type, and then you've got your stream kitty, and then in addition to your stream kitty and your rebel and your not rebel, you've got your sort of learning Jedi who's learning to use the Force, and so all of them get to band together to do the story, and the story that we tell might see the Empire fall, and it might not. It might become part of the Empire wherever that story takes us, based on what people like. But we definitely have some stream kitty butt going on here. But I've been talking and talking and talking, so I'm going to now stop talking to let people sort of answer this very open-ended and long tirade question.
Yes, I would play a Star Wars game. I am not 100% sure what I'd play in a Star Wars game because I kind of leave that stuff open and it really depends on what everyone else is playing. Yeah, I don't know. Was there something else I was supposed to answer with that?
I could see, again, not to put anything on anybody, I could see Luca really getting down on like a scoundrel type with the freighter and the big debt and just being like, listen, I'm in this for the money.
I don't know. I could see some real like Lando-y vibes from him, like the very cool cat sort of thing.
Definitely, he'd have to have a space cape.
Look, look here, kids. I ain't here to fuck around, so please. The money.
It's over, Solo. There's no one left
I
in
have
the
no
galaxy
idea
for
how
you
to
to
do
swindle.
it, so
There is a Star Wars cat people race. They are called the Fargul, by the way.
I
Also,
will play another
The
race.
Bothans. The Bothans are a Star Wars cat people.
I already have 2 characters that are cat people. Please no.
You don't have to be a cat people. You could be a dog people. No, I'm just kidding.
They have those too. My characters for the other game, one of them was a 1000% done with this shit Night Sister. And the other one was an adorable and very squeaky bat person. So you can really run the gamut with Star Wars, and whatever you want to do, you can justify it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The Chandra fan are
And
adorable.
yeah, I'm just gonna say that I will definitely not play a human character because oh no, I'm in space. Why would I be the boring character?
Alright, LK says he wants to be an Ithorian. 4 throats, looking like a big ol' snail.
Calm down. Calm down, Chief. I ain't that crazy yet.
What about
The
a
Thorians are
Trandoshan,
really
one of the
cool.
lizard people, very good hunters?
You lost me. One of the what?
Trandoshan, they're like humanoid but lizard. And
It's
they're
the guy in Empire Strikes Back, the lizard who's in a flight suit.
Yeah. Think Gorns, but not in like a toga and they're orange instead of green.
So
They absolutely hate Wookiees though. I gotta say. And I mean, this is just my personal bias, but I do love me a good Wookiee.
so instead of Star Wars Empire Strike Back, it will be Star Wars The Gorn Strike Back.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just make it a Star Wars Star Trek crossover. No problem. Crew of the
Yeah, because
USS
there's never
Sacagawea.
any arguments about those.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No.
Okay, but could you imagine Klingons riding into battle on Rancors?
Yes.
Just putting that out there as like the most awesome thing that could possibly happen in a crossover game like that.
And Andorians riding into battle on Tauntauns.
I would be so here for that.
Sith with Targs.
I think what's great is because like Kirsten, you don't really know Star Wars very well, right?
So, like, I've seen the movies, although I'm pretty for sure I have not seen all of them all the way through, and I definitely don't remember all of them.
That's kind of perfect because that provides you this like ability to take your first steps into a larger world in the Star Wars setting. And so you got to be kind of that Luke Skywalker character who's like, I kind of have a vague idea of what's going on, but then like as you play, you get more fully immersed in the galaxy and the story, and that makes your character this great conduit through which the audience gets to explore the universe as well from a new point of view. And Star Wars is nothing if not about stories told from a certain point of view.
So I would just need to. So I usually play like one of two types of characters. I either play characters who are like 100% complete projections of myself, or I play characters who are like confident, competent people. So I would just need to play a character who is like completely myself. I get to make another Kira, but in Star Wars. Kira was a character that I played in a D&D campaign with a friend of mine for a very long time, and she was basically me, but a druid with plants and even less people skills, if that's possible.
We could actually keep the plant thing too. There's a lot of the force in plants.
Anything that lives. Yeah. And you don't have to be the force user if that's not the way that you want to go. It really depends kind of like on what kind of story we want to tell. And I think that there are a lot of perfectly good stories that can be told in Star Wars where a force user is part of the group, but the story itself is not about the force.
Provided you think Shippert? I don't remember his name. The character from Rogue One was a actual force sensitive. Rogue One's a very good example of that.
Kinda. Force sensitive.
The Dr.
Except for the
Aphra
ending.
comics. The Dr. Aphra comics are a great example of that. She is introduced as a character in the Darth Vader comics. Also awesome. And I highly recommend anybody who is a big fan of queer comics pick up, especially if you're a big fan of queer comics and sci-fi, pick up Dr. Aphra. She is amazing and sexy and dangerous, and she's ostensibly an archaeologist in the way that people in media are archaeologists and not in the way that archaeologists are archaeologists. But she...
That belongs in a museum.
Well, she's a little less it belongs in a museum and more like, hey, there's an ancient gun or weapon technology. I could use this to blow things up. And so she...
Is it Lara Croft in space?
It's like if Lara Croft was morally ambiguous. Yes. Dr. Aphra is extremely morally ambiguous, and she is big gay. With capital B, capital G.
Have my attention.
Just to make sure I have this down correctly, what is the name of this comic?
Dr. Aphra, Aphra.
It's one of the Marvel Star Wars runs. I do believe it's digitally available last I had looked.
I believe so, yeah. I have a bunch of them hard copy as I was subscribed for the beginning of its run for the first year, and then I moved and was not able to ever locate a comic book store near me. Sad faces. Which is weird considering I've lived in Silicon Valley and the South Bay area for the past 2 years. So you'd think there'd be more comic book shops. There's all the nerds here.
That is weird because I live in the southern United States, and there's a comic book store within walking distance of my apartment.
Yeah, that's how it was when I was in Washington. Gabby's Olympic Cards and Comics in Washington, amazing. If you're ever up in the Olympia Lacey area, fantastic comic book store. They do more than just comic books as well. They do tabletop games It's gorgeous. It's an amazing place, privately owned. So there's my little plug for that.
As far as
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, as far as like who I would want to play or what stories I would want to tell, that's just a universe I really like mucking about in. Um, and I would like to have a lightsaber because lightsabers are cool. There is no deeper like purpose behind it than that. Lightsabers are just cool. And then there's another part of me that's like, oh, I only got to play Tabe for one session before that game had to end. And I just love the idea of like the rebel badass in the group being this 3 foot tall bat person who is squeaky and chirpy and cheerful all the time.
These are both good concepts, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a lightsaber because it's cool. And I will point out that you absolutely do not have to be force sensitive to use a lightsaber. I mean, there's General Grievous, and that dude is a cyborg and not force sensitive at all. So it's really just about like who trained you. And like the thing is, like, Jedi are, part of their problem is they're like super dogmatic, so they definitely keep the lightsaber tradition like to themselves, because part of building a lightsaber is you have to like hone the crystal to your own force energy. But as even we've seen in all the movies, you can just pick one of them things up and use it after it's been honed. So yeah, you got to be a Jedi to make one, but you ain't got to be a Jedi to use one. And if for any reason your character's ever been to an archaeological dig on a forbidden planet like, I don't know, Moorband, well, there's a bunch of lightsabers just sort of hanging out on the ground. There's one I cannot remember the name of. They visited it late in the Clone Wars. Yoda goes there, and it's the same place where Darth Sidious took Maul to really show him the dark side. And there was a giant battle there between Jedi and Sith, and the Sith unleashed this massive weapon that killed everybody on the planet.
Oh, the thought bomb?
I think that's what it was. But there's just a bunch of dead Jedi and dead Sith, and guess what? Their lightsabers just hanging out. It's not like those things don't work.
Well, I mean, Bane had his own, and he didn't really need to steal.
I mean, they kinda didn't work, right? They turned one on and they flickered on and off.
Yeah, I think you could probably fix it up, though, if you're technically
Yeah,
capable.
probably. Yeah,
Put a
it
new
was
battery
the
in it.
proto Kylo Ren saber.
Yeah. With crossguard and everything. But yeah, lightsabers, absolutely cool. Totally awesome. Nick, what kind
And the
of...
Mandos do have the dark saber, which is
Oh,
just a
there's...
very fancy lightsaber.
Theoretically, there's
Oof,
only one
the
of
dark
those,
saber
but
is
like
beautiful.
in a role playing game, I would never be like, you can't have the dark saber. There's only one of those. That's not fun. And I am much more about fun than I am about lore and canon, because those kind of are pretty limiting. So, warning to anybody who would ever watch a Star Wars game that I hosted: don't expect lore and canon from the movies to just be law, because that's not fun.
And I really love kind of digging into some of those alternative force traditions where like you're sitting there and it's like, what are the space wardens? Who knows? They get like 3 sentences in this one EU book that has now been retconned. But oh man, I could think of things to do with the space warden. That sounds awesome.
Totally. Nick, I don't think we heard from you what kind of character you would like.
It 100% depends on everyone else. That's the thing. I also like to muck around in the Star Wars verse, but I also tend to be the person who's like, what don't we have? Which at the moment sounds like a droid, so I'd probably go that way. But
So
I couldn't tell you 100%
either
anything more. So
Yes,
I could see you being
Nick
happy
would
as
be the
either...
perfect droid.
I can see you either being happy as like an R2D2 or a Chopper, or maybe as a Chewbacca. Not necessarily Chewbacca himself, but like a large something that puts the hurt on people, but also is like an awesome co-pilot.
So what I'm hearing is you don't want to hear my voice anymore.
Wait, what I'm hearing is that you want to hug
I mean,
him to death.
you could be a protocol droid like 000. 000 is a protocol droid who specializes in torture.
Oh, the one from Jabba's palace?
It's actually the one from Dr. Aphra, the comic. It looks like C-3PO, but it's black with red eyes, and it's got needles
I've
in
seen
its
a picture
fingers.
of that guy.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
also has a R2D2
Yeah.
that is also murdered.
I couldn't do that though. Yes,
Ulfric, that is the
that's a
right
big no.
reaction to 000. Nope. That's a big nope. 000 is very evil. But like the hunter-killer droid from Knights of the Old Republic, that would be fun.
HK-47, he's
Yeah.
super fun.
Totally.
I'd probably end up being something more like L3 or Forlom though, and just be like, no, I didn't like what I was doing, so now I'm something completely different.
I
just
love
that
L3.
L3's name is like actually Leet.
She is.
I'm annoyed I didn't know it
She's
until
Leet.
someone pointed it out.
She's Leet, and that's now the computer in the Falcon. Is the computer in the Falcon is literally Leet. Because that's the kind of edgelord that Han Solo is. He's got to be Leet. See, and you gamers thought you came up with Leet speak in the early 2000s. I see a hand raised. What's up, Kirsten?
So I just want to say, and I do not know whose character is taller, but given the laws of characters I play, my character is probably going to end up being like my height or shorter. So I'm just imagining someone like trying to take a gun from her and being like, no.
I imagine if you were given a gun, it would probably be something meaty like a DL-44, which is the gun that Han Solo uses, or something chunky like the gun that Rey gets in Episode 7. I really like that chunk gun. Or maybe something sleek like Leia's Defender pistol or the DL-18 pistol. Also, I'm just like, there's so many good pistols, like the Blurg 1120 is a good one. That's the one that Harrison Dula uses. If you make friends with Mandalorians or Stream Kitties, you might get like Mandalorian pistols, like the ones that Sabine Wren has. Or you could always go with like the classic Boba Fett EE3. There's so many good. The
Naboo pistols are really pretty too.
Yeah, those are the DL-18, the ones that are like pew, pew. Yeah. Or I guess it's more of like a sucking knife, like yeah, I like those.
Most of those pistols names just flew by.
Okay, hands down, my favorite starship in Star Wars is the J-type Nubian barge that is right at the beginning of Episode 2 that they blow up immediately after it lands on Coruscant.
Yeah, I remember.
So gorgeous.
It's so pretty.
It's like a chrome-plated bomber from World War II, and I love it. And it's just like, I can almost never find stats for it, and it took me forever to find its name, but it's the J-type barge. That said, I do want to be clear, if I could pick one starship from Star Wars to have, it would definitely be an X-Wing. No offense to anybody else, but that's the ship
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say X-Wing.
But T-65B or T-70. Probably T-70.
I mean, the T-65 is classic, but the T-70 outperforms it in like everything.
And it's so sexy with those half turbines.
I had to Google what it's called, but it's apparently called the N1 Starfighter. It's the yellow ship from Naboo, and like, I love colors. That's like my favorite thing in the world, so that's my favorite ship by default.
There is a fantastic show called Lego Freemakers. It's a children's show, so go into it with that in mind. There's an episode where a guy comes into the Freemaker repair shop with an N1 Starfighter, and he's like, I need you guys to fix this up. And one of the repair people is like, it's an N1 Starfighter! Oh my god, I can't resist flying this thing! And he's flying, and then he accidentally ends up in a rebel formation with a bunch of A-Wings and ends up shooting some TIE fighters down. And so he gets brought on board Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, and Darth Vader's like, what could possibly have made you want to fly with some A-Wings? There's no ship that can be that. Oh my god, is that an N1 Starfighter? I haven't seen one of these in forever. And he like geeks out and he runs over and he jumps in the N1. It's so perfect. That's a good starship.
My memory of that is accidentally unlocking it in Rogue Squadron 2 or 3, where it was a hidden secret ship right before the movie's release.
Ooh.
Spoilers.
Fancy. Oh my gosh, I have a Trivial Pursuit Star Wars game, and it was released before Episode 1. And there are some.
Is it the one with the R2D2 roller?
Yes, it is.
Because I had that same one.
And one of the questions is like, who was Obi-Wan's Jedi teacher? And the answer everybody invariably gives now is Qui-Gon Jinn. But the answer on the card is Yoda. Because before Episode 1... before Episode 1, there was no Qui-Gon Jinn. It was just Yoda. There's a conversation in Empire Strikes Back where Obi-Wan's like, was I any different when you trained me? So now they sort of made Yoda like the guy that not notionally trains like all the baby Jedi. That's a thing that he does. LK, do you have a favorite Star Wars spaceship?
I would say it's probably the transport ship from the Clone Wars.
The LAAT, the white one. It's like white and it's got like the little bubbles with the people in them that shoot the lasers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's the LAAT. I love that ship. That's the clone drop ship.
Yeah, it's a good design. I just love it.
Oh man, that scene where they drop in and right when the clones first attack and the Jedi jump out of them with the clones in the arena. Oh my gosh. And the music there, John Williams' Love Pledge in the Arena is one of my favorite tracks in all of Star Wars. I'm thinking about it and getting goosebumps right now.
You say that, and all I can remember is that one Jedi Master who tried to go for Dooku directly and got shot.
Well, it wasn't my main man, Kit Fisto.
No, he got dicked harder.
Yeah, well...
The movie did him dirty. Oh my god.
He got killed.
Fascist.
I mean, at least he got killed versus the Emperor.
But it looked so bad, and the character design was so bad on the movies. It looked like rubber. It was so sad.
I mean, it probably was rubber.
Yep.
What about Nick? Nick, do you have a favorite Star Wars spaceship?
The TIE Defender.
Ooh, that is a really interesting choice. Talk to me about the TIE Defender. That one's got the 3 wings, yes?
It has the 3 wings and the armament of a B-wing, plus a hyperdrive and shields.
Does it sit 2 people like the B-wing does?
No, single man still. I think there was a variant that did in one of the X-Wing books, but it's been a little bit, so I don't 100% remember.
I don't know. I just know that they were building TIE Defenders on Lethal, and those things were nasty.
That they're gross little ships.
Yeah.
They're fast and scary. They are entirely from X-Wing versus TIE Fighter because I spent my youth playing a lot of Star Wars starfighting games. And that is why I like the TIE Defender, because it was the most fun ship to fly in those.
I am actually, I know I should say X-Wing, but I'm actually a big fan of the Baudo class Star Yacht. I just think those ships are pretty.
I just realized that anytime I'm typing, my mic is picking that up, and so it can be heard on stream, even though it can't be heard in the Discord chat. So yeah, I'm super good and professional at this. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one off the top of my head.
So that's the Pulsar Skate from the X-Wing novels is a Baudo class yacht, but I'm so unhappy with how they drew it in the comics because like it's described as looking like a stingray or like a skate, the aquatic animal. And they drew it looking like some weird cannon on top of three other cannons. What even is that ship design? It's terrible. Anyway, but it's like a nice little medium-sized cargo ship. Lots of smugglers like them because you can modify them pretty easy. I love the curves. I think it reminds me of Padme's ship in episode 1, but a little more practical.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
What's the name you said of the ship?
There's definitely some alternate artwork that makes it look a little bit more like a skate, and definitely fits your description. Like the stuff that comes up when I Google it off the top of Google is just, it's what you described. It's like this weird, like there's like a starfighter, and then like some struts, and then a whole other ship beneath it, and it looks nothing like a skate at all. And not even like a roller skate. Like there's no skate that it looks like. And I'm so, who designed this? Like it's not necessarily a bad starship design, but it doesn't match the description at all.
I found a card on Google. Is that it? Pulsar Skate?
It is, but that also has the issue she was talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
the image that meant. Look.
It was an amazing card for that game, though, especially if you had the Merrick's Tarek.
Oh, my legendary
As an old
family of smugglers.
I just dropped a picture in the
Ooh,
second
that looks much better.
right? It's pretty.
Red,
And you
it's perfect.
smuggle things like weapons in it.
Yeah, that's the one that I saw that was pretty. Yeah. So cool.
It's actually statted quite often in the RPGs too, as one of the like, if you don't want a YT cruiser, here are other thingies you could fly.
Gosh, they give so many of those YT cruisers, and I'm like, you know, the XCV-100 is a much better. It's a little bit larger than a YT, but it's better as a starship than a YT, especially for a crew. Most of the YTs are a little cramped because they've only got like 1 or 2 crew cabins, and a party of 4 is like honestly, Star Wars Rebels, whether you like it or hate it, it's a show that is a good representation of what a Star Wars role-playing game would look like played out. Like, you've got a party, you've got the pilot, you've got the muscle, you've got the Jedi, you've got like the thief, you've got the Mandalorian. For lack of a better word, she's also the mechanic. So there's, you know, each of them has their depth, but there's 5 party members, and each of them has their different role on the ship. And there's even the astromech droid, and eventually the astromech droid gets the 6th party member as AP5, who occasionally is there. another great character, super sarcastic inventory droid, logistics droid that they stole from the Empire. And I think that the addition of sarcastic droids is some of the best stuff from the newer Star Wars, not just AP5, but also K2SO from Rogue One. You know, I was sent to rescue you. Please do not resist.
I'm with you. He said Cassian said I had to go.
Yeah. I could definitely see Nick being that kind of droid. I don't know if necessarily being a security droid. I saw a little bit of Star Wars one that was done by Eric Campbell, and Hector Torres was there, and he was playing one of those security droids, and he was having a great time with it. I'd be a little worried about, well, I guess not too worried. If I was going to stream it, it'd probably just be streaming for fun, not like, oh, this is part of like a thing that we do. It would be like, I don't know. I'm not like a big professional streamer person. I want to get into doing a little bit more streaming because I like it. I like having the streams. I like being with the people that I'm with. You guys are
Fliss,
awesome.
did you mean Hector Navarro?
I did
Someone
mean
was
Hector Navarro.
asking in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, Hector
Sorry
Navarro
to
was
interject.
there. No problem. But yeah, it would absolutely be it. And the person asking in the chat is Gemma, by the way.
I know.
So hey, Gemma,
So much.
big shout out, and I hope you're feeling better. We miss you big time. I am a poor Gemma substitute.
Stop. No. Stop. Don't
You
even
both
start.
are great. We love you
Yes.
equally.
I'm not trying to compete. I just want to throw
We
that
are
out there.
not saying it's a competition.
Um,
But if it was a competition.
but I do love you guys, and I appreciate you very much. And sort of streaming that is my way of sort of sharing the enjoyment that I have with you guys, with other people. And so that's sort of why, if I do end up streaming things, I've got this setup. This was specifically a setup that I've been working on. The overlay that we have on Twitch right now. And Alpaca Lunch Games is a rebranding because it used to just be Radmus Fliss with no overlays, and I just stream like whenever, and there was no YouTube channel. But then I was like, hey, so what if I had content? And I just, added to the glut of content that's out in the universe. Why not? Because one of two things is going to happen. Either it's going to be on par with the bad stuff, or it's going to be eventually good stuff. And, it's like playing an instrument. You got to start somewhere. So, enjoying time with my friends is sort of where I'm at. And this roundtable is really kind of the first. Well, I don't want to say it's the first foray. Nick and I have been streaming City of Heroes, and that's we did stream earlier this afternoon with City of Heroes with an overlay that I set up with the two of us, with me in the top left corner and him down in the bottom right corner, and it even had captions for both of us in little word balloons. So unfortunately, when I went back and listened to it, it sounded like I couldn't hear Nick at all. So that was like an hour of me talking to myself with basically no game sounds, and Nick sounding like which is an injustice to Nick, but at least he's got captions, so you can tell vaguely what he was saying when the captions are correct.
Also, we have a question from Gemma.
Ooh, favorite sci-fi villains. This is good. Also, I saw a hand up from Kirsten, so I want to see if maybe that's on.
I was just trying to bring attention to the same thing.
Oh, okay. So, favorite sci-fi
I'm more
villains.
rude than you, sorry.
I just don't know how to bring up anything ever.
By all means,
I knew someone
interject.
was going
Cut
to,
me
so I
off.
didn't even try.
I talk too much. Cut me off. I talked to fill dead space. I'm just vamping. Um, favorite sci-fi villain. I'm gonna have to think for a moment. If anybody else has one off the cuff, by all means, throw their answer out there.
I technically do, however, you can argue that he is not a villain and that comic books aren't sci fi, so if I need to change my answer, let me know. But Magneto from the X-Men.
Comic books are absolutely sci-fi, and Magneto from the X-Men absolutely counts and is awesome as a
He
choice.
has a moon base, for crying out loud. If that isn't sci-fi, I don't know what is.
It's an asteroid base. Sorry, I don't want to be one of
I
those
mean,
actually people, but
saying he has a moon base is not really a good justification because the Justice League has a moon base.
no, they
And
have
they're
a space station base. Sorry, I'm a horrible person.
I meant the sci-fi
No, you're not,
justification,
but
not the
it's-
villain part.
no,
But
it's that's totally cool. I don't know anything. I'm not. I've been playing superhero games with Nick, but I actually am not a big superhero person. That's not me. That's not my thing. My thing is spaceship sci-fi with laser pew pews. As I don't know. I just I don't get into things.
It's not a movie villain, but I think that Baron Harkonnen from Dune is a pretty disgusting and disturbing idea of a human. And so I would put him pretty high up on the
I've
villain.
never actually seen the movie. Is he not a villain in the movie?
I'm thinking of the books.
No, I know. I haven't seen the movie, so I had no idea if he was a bad guy or not.
I'm not familiar with either, so
To,
well, let's see here.
to continue things people possibly aren't familiar with, Scorpius from Farscape would be my favorite sci-fi villain. He goes from bad guy to main cast member to bad guy again. Is just lovely to watch all the time and is super fun. He also gets to be a hallucination for a while in someone else's head, so he gets to just be cuckoo crazy, and it's great.
Okay, here's another one. I'm blanking on the name, but the villain from Blade Runner, the replicant that Deckard is hired to get, who comes back to Earth and kills his creator. Blonde dude, super intense and scary.
I know who you mean. I don't know what their name is. Gosh, I'm still kind of like picking just one is super difficult for me.
Rutger. Oh, Roy Beta. Rutger is the actor. Roy Batty was the name.
Yeah, because wasn't the actor also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer as like the lead vampire dude? The film, not the TV show.
I haven't seen either of those either.
That sounds right.
We are having a watch party.
That sounds great. We were supposed to do watch parties for Star Wars too. Don't forget.
Yes, this article I was
Are we?
looking at says so.
A sci-fi villain. Gosh. I think
Can I also just say, for the record, Tarkin, scarier than Vader. 5-year-old Ulfric could not handle Tarkin.
he was
The
supposed
guy
to
who
be.
played Scorpius was young Tarkin.
So, I think Maul is going to be my answer. And the reason is because he ended up being such a complex character by the time he finally met his demise once again at the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that final fight scene, spoiler alert, is like 45 seconds of cinema gold where there's just this part where these are two extraordinarily powerful force users. They have been fighting for like 2.5 decades. They know each other's moves, they know each other's styles. And so there's just this tense moment of mental chess between the two of them. And then Maul tries to do the thing that he did to Qui-Gon to kill him, and Obi-Wan just ends it. And the path that Maul took from going to being just a Night Brother of Dathomir to being handed over to the Empire and then literally force fed the dark side until it was all he could see, until all he could see was hatred for the Jedi and a desire to make them pay, and then that hatred keeping him alive, and then he sought out the Night Sisters again, who helped keep him alive, reuniting with his brother, trying to get revenge on Kenobi, and then losing his brother, and then and then surviving Order 66 after being captured by Ahsoka Tano. Just the whole thing is just such an epic story arc to me. Becoming the master of the underground crime syndicates, bringing the crime syndicates together in the first massive organized crime cartel in Star Wars. Just truly epic stuff. So I'm going to have to say Maul. Dude had like 2 lines on screen in any movie.
We will
Yeah.
reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last, we will have our revenge.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't like Junior Fett have like 3 lines? No, wait. It was 5 lines in the trilogy, and one of them was him screaming.
In the original movies, yes.
Also, I love the meta theory that Boba Fett is actually Wesley because they both say "as you wish."
For a second, I thought you meant Wesley Crusher because I am a disaster of a human being.
That is exactly where my mind went first, too, actually.
Mine
Also,
too.
I think at some point
uh,
we're going to talk
I
about
mean-
Star Trek, so you know.
my mind
Definitely.
didn't went anywhere after that.
I-
Wait, talking about Star Trek. I guess my favorite villain would be Gold Cut.
Truly
It's a strong
Because-
choice.
Yeah.
I think villains is the only one that keeps coming to my mind. So
See, Kai Wynn is up there pretty high for me because she is a villain that I love to hate. And Adami Wynn has this arc sort of at the end where she almost kind of maybe slightly redeems herself when she realizes that Gul Dukat is her lover, and there's that moment of absolute disgust. But she's still the villain, and she still does all of her villain stuff. I love Gul Dukat. I think Kai Wynn, personally, is, to me, more of a villain than Gul Dukat.
I
like
think
that
I
series.
hate Dukat more because Jaxida was my favorite DS9 character, so seeing her get snuffed like that was pretty rough.
Okay, so, I mean...
Spoilers, I guess?
That, to me, is definitely more of a Rick Berman thing.
Oh, because of the contract difficulties and BS like that.
Yes.
Berman, greatest Star Trek villain of all time.
There you go.
I like the way
I-
you think.
I never knew that when I watched it as a youngster, though, so... You know, I can't attribute it to him originally.
yeah,
Well, you can't have
Um,
2 girls kissing on TV. That would be weird. But if one girl's killing another, that's fine.
Counterpoint. The new She-Ra series.
I haven't finished it yet. Calm down. Easy.
I haven't.
Season 5 is so gay,
I'm
fam.
almost there. I'm almost there.
That's good. I tried
See,
to
my
get
mind
into
also
season.
doesn't remember that Jaxida didn't kiss that lady in the one thing. In my brain, they had much.
In my brain, they kissed. Like, that was a formative moment for young Ulfric that apparently never even happened.
Okay, good. Because in my brain, I'm like, they kissed, didn't
Wait, they
they? I
do
thought they
kiss.
did.
Yeah, they
Okay.
kiss. I
Oh,
swear they do.
okay.
Yeah, they share a
Wait.
kiss. There were just people complaining about it. That was something that, if I remember correctly, was a victory for. Oh my gosh, his name is escaping me. Purple beard dude with the hat. Ira.
Ira Stephen Bear?
Yes, Ira Stephen Bear. Because he talked about that moment in What We Left Behind.
Okay.
I mean, they
Okay.
also did a lot of really good things with Jaxida because they also have the Klingons instantly when she's like, "I'm not Kazon anymore. I'm Jaxida." They're instantly like, "Oh, right, you're a she. Let's move on. Do you want to go help us kill this dude?"
And I love more spoilers coming up. The episode, it might be one of my favorite Trek episodes. One of, because who can pick one? The episode where she and Worf are getting married and it keeps going off again, on again. And there's a little like snarky line dropped in the middle where they're talking about what they dislike about each other. And a third, I think it's Bashir is like, "Oh, I see the problem. They're both right." And
Star
it's just
Trek
that
is so
lovely
good.
kind of thing of like, we know the worst thing about each other and we love each other with that. And I just think that's a really lovely kind of romance for Worf and in particular to have. Like, he and Troy never really made sense to me. I know that was like a weird alien compulsion thing, but still. But yeah, I liked that this was going to be a little bit antagonistic as they kept going, because that's what they both kind of need from each other.
The episode where
Well,
Worf.
yeah, like neither one would want to be with someone who's not challenging them constantly.
The
That's
episode
like,
where Worf goes back to collect Jadzia and fails the mission, and he gets dressed down by Cisco at the end, and Cisco's like, "You son of a bitch, you fucked up the mission, you could have hurt the war effort. But damn it, if it were my wife, I would have done the same thing." That was such a good moment. Star Trek is so good. Star Trek is so good, guys. If you don't,
that's weird. I can't believe we all think that.
Also, Deep Space Nine is just like good in general, but Avery Brooks is just an amazing actor, and he did an amazing job as Cisco, and there were so many amazing lines and scenes.
I actually think that the writers had a hard time knowing what to do with him. Like, I felt like that character had a longer settling in period than most Star Trek characters. Like, most Star Trek characters, it's kind of mid season 2, start of season 3 that you're like, "Oh yes, now I know who he is." But I felt like it wasn't really until they got to the time travel stuff that I'm like, now I know who Cisco is. Now I know exactly what his values are and exactly how he's going to go
I,
about working for.
I think the
So,
only other character that struggles for me like that is, and I think the only reason it doesn't show as much is because she's another fantastic actor. Is Janeway. The authors, especially Hollywood writers in the 90s, even the female writers, and this boggles my fucking mind. Nobody knew how to write, yeah, nobody knew how to write women as characters. Like, there's this perspective of you either write them as traditionally feminine or you write them as, "I'm a woman who can do butch things, okay? I am here, and I can do butch things because I say I can." And that was Yar's big problem. Like, I think Yar would have been fine if she was just herself and, like, cooled it on the "I can do whatever you can do" kind of stuff. Like, some people are like that. but it's a bit jarring to see it on screen, constantly reminding people that she's the security chief, not big Klingon guy. Like, so, like, Yar kind of always grated on me for that reason. And then, like, with Janeway, they were like, okay, do we want to make her a caretaker? Do we want to make her the strong captain? Like, they kept bouncing around, and, you know, it wasn't. She has such a wishy-washy character for so long. I think one of my favorite Janeway moments where you can really tell that Mulgrew is just being Janeway is the episode where they have the little Irish town, and she's like, delete the wife. Sorry to catch you while you're drinking, Elberg, but that was definitely like...
I had forgotten that moment existed until you said it, and then I'm like, yes, it was gold. And to get back to your original point, Kirsten, yes, Avery Brooks is a phenomenal actor, and I think that's part of why the writers' room was able to wiggle for so long, because he somehow kept it together.
And I also just wanted to bring up that I definitely didn't pick up on that because I never watched Deep Space Nine linearly. I have never watched any Star Trek series linearly except for the TOS movies. I have always watched them like starting through like midway through like season 4 because I knew that's when the good stuff started.
Some fantastic, at least DS9 episodes early on.
Yeah.
And one or two really good next gen character bits. But it's usually just like this episode has a great character piece. Like the Q episode has some really nice bits with Cisco.
I mean, my favorite episode of Enterprise is season 1, Dear Doctor. I think that's a great episode that really shows the struggle of what exploration was before the Prime Directive. You've got, you know, these people are dying out. Well, if you give us warp technology, we don't have to die out. Well, we can't just give you warp technology. Shit's dangerous, yo. Well, you could cure us, but then these other people would die out. That's such like an impossible dilemma. I really love that episode.
Or that episode on the TNG where there's two races and one of them is selling drugs to the other, and and the disease doesn't exist anymore, and they are just dependent.
Yes.
It's very...
Such a good episode.
Also, Gemma posed another question. Favorite sci-fi couple?
Also, Galactians in chat now, so we have to stop talking bad about the Star Trek Adventure game.
No. We're actually coming up near the end of our stream, but we can try and address favorite sci-fi couple really quick. I say game, our end of our discussion. We're only going for about an hour and a half tonight, because you know, we're not playing a game. If we could go longer if people want, but we're definitely gonna take a break at an hour and a half. So it's up to you guys if you want to go for longer or if you guys want to call it. I'll let you guys be the arbiter.
Let's see. First favorite sci-fi couple is a rough one. There's so many I like. You know, I'm going to go back to comic books being sci-fi and say Lois and Clark when actually written correctly. And Lois has made the badass she is. They're just such a strong couple who support each other and who fill in the gaps the other person misses.
I'm going to go Zoe and Wash from Firefly. I love how they like perfectly make sense even though at first glance they shouldn't. And that there's those flashbacks where you see them taking time to come together. And one of the first things that Zoe says about Wash is, I don't like him. Apparently, I just have a thing for really like couples who are just constantly bickering. That's what I'm learning here because my other thought was Han and Leia. So
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that kind of dynamic on film, even though it's not the relationship I have or want.
I mean, it does make an interesting dynamic to watch.
That said, I don't think Zoe and Wash actually bicker that much. I think they've got a pretty harmonious relationship, which is actually part of what I like about them.
I do like how much they're their own people, and then they can combine very well when they need to.
I'm thinking how much I can stretch sci-fi.
I don't know if I have a favorite sci-fi
All the
couple.
way. Remember, bookstores put the sci-fi section with the fantasy section.
Oh, actually, I do have a
Really?
favorite sci-fi. Yeah, they usually do here in the United States. I do have a favorite sci-fi couple. So it's from a Star Wars book. It's from Lost Stars, and it's Admiral Ray Sloan of the Empire. And gosh, I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he was in the Empire at the beginning of the book. They grew up together. They literally learned to pilot together, and then he so what ended up splitting them up was when the Death Star destroyed Alderaan, he was like, I can't be part of this. The Empire has done something truly horrific. And she's like, no, we made an agreement to work for the Empire. I'm sticking around. And then the rebels blew up the Death Star, and she's like, we had so many friends on the Death Star. How can you be with them? They're terrorists. And he's like, Alderaan. And she's like, Death Star. And so, like, they come back and forth, or they go back and forth across the entirety of the Star Wars, like, original movies. And then a year after Return of the Jedi, at the Battle of Jakku, the big final push, Admiral Sloan is on a Star Destroyer, and he goes on a boarding team to rescue her from her crashing Star Destroyer over Jakku. And it's so romantic. It's so amazing. And I just love that story so much. It's by Claudia Gray. It's called Lost Stars. So, so good. Highly recommend. That's probably my favorite sci-fi couple. Wait, Gemma, is there a problem with Nick's mustache?
I believe she means Wush's mustache from when they first met, because he had a
Oh,
doozy of one.
It was pretty grody.
okay. This
But
is like
yes,
a
I do need to cut this mustache, so that's probably the problem.
that's like a Firefly thing. LK's like, my mustache is fine and sexy. Don't talk about it.
Yeah. No, okay, I'm gonna go fantasy since you guys gave me the room to do it, and I only have this couple in my mind. It's Lief and Jasmine from Doutora Quest, and it was my first book series when I was young, and just stuck with me. I reread it through entirely 4 times. Uh, and they are the bickering type too, so
I have to go now, don't I?
You don't have to answer any questions you don't want to. I do want to throw that out. If you don't have something for this, or if you feel uncomfortable saying it in front of the world of 6 people that are watching the stream, then don't say it.
No, I have it. So first of all, it's very hard to think of one because I spent a significant portion of my conscious existence being a small closeted queer woman and ignoring all heterosexual romance that was forced upon me. But I would have to pick Eowyn and Faramir.
Okay. Nice. I think it's a little more
wait,
fantasy than
who?
sci-fi, but I can take it.
It is
I
fantasy,
did-
but we said fantasy was allowed, and they're the only couple I can think of who I actually like.
I'm not fighting you. I like it, but I
I'm
will
also-
say.
Good.
Oh, go ahead, Ulfric.
I was going to change topic. Please go ahead.
Oh, I was
Bliss.
gonna say we are at an hour and a half. Let's say a 5-minute break. Is that fine? Is that gonna be enough, or do we want to go for a little bit longer than 5? 5? Okay.
Whenever we all sit back down.
5 should be.
Well, that could go on
should
for a long time, Nick.
Could
So
we
let's
maybe go for like 7? Because I
Let's-
need to get to the laundromat to pick
Let's
up
call
the
it
clothes
10.
from the dryer.
Let's call it 10. I will put
Thank
some
you.
music on, and we will be back in 10. So stay tuned. Love you guys.
Cinderella
Also,
and
when
the
we
Top
get back,
Sepper.
I've got a question for everybody.
Okay.
Yay, question for Nick. impossible.
Yeah, it's real tough. When I was playing, there was I think the Garden of Madness or something, which was a cross promotion with another anime, and I managed to get that girl who was a saber katana wielder who can see ghosts. Her anime sounded really cool. I need to find it.
So it seems like I came
Nice.
back in the middle of this conversation because I had you guys deafened and had no idea you were in the middle of a conversation. So, for the purposes of everybody who's just coming back, can you please back up and tell us what the hell you're talking about?
The Sword Art game, or not Sword Art, the other game,
8.
the Fate game that he had said he enjoyed playing.
Yeah, we were talking about the servants that I had unlocked already.
So, welcome back, everyone. We are back from break. Due to special request from my partner, I am now alcoholed, so I will be getting increasingly less coherent the longer this
A
goes on.
mudslide?
No, this is actually so we, at the recommendation of Nick, this was an awesome recommendation. We got the Star Wars cookbook, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge cookbook, and there are several mixed drink recipes in there. We got the ingredients for one of them, and for the past month we have been working our way through those ingredients because that's just how much you can buy at any one time, and we don't drink all that much, certainly not during the week. So it's easier to make two than it is to make one, and we're going through a bit of a hard time. Her time's a bit harder than it is for me, and so she's hanging out in the bedroom, and I'm like, hey, we're on break. Can I get you anything? And she says, can you get me a Port in the Storm? So I'm drinking a Port in the Storm. It's a mix of spiced rum and ruby port and ginger liqueur with an ounce of lime and 2 ounces of ginger beer poured on top, strong ginger beer poured on top of it. And it's strong. And if you drink it too fast, it'll give you a headache. But it is delicious. It's like a sweet and savory kick in the mouth.
That sounds yummy. I actually don't have that book. I've just seen a lot of the recipes, and they all seem fantastically fun. And I also know it has some cool lore bits sprinkled in.
They want you to have ground ice to put in it to fill up your glass, but I don't have anywhere to grind ice except to put it in a blender, and let me tell you, that doesn't work all that well. So
No, it's a pain.
Yeah, even on the low setting. So I just fill my glass to the brim with ice.
Yeah, on the rocks is fine for most of those blended drinks. It's a secret that isn't often mentioned.
Well, I figured it out myself without 4 years of bartending school, so
I kind of wish I was that long.
Oh, have you been to bartending school?
Yes.
This is a fascinating thing I'm learning about my friend.
Yeah, I'm a licensed bartender here in Oregon. I have gone to school for it. I, of course, also have all the food stuff because that is disturbingly easy to get licensed to serve food. The drink license is a much more difficult game.
Can we ask you questions about that? Does anybody else have questions about that? I have questions about that because that sounds interesting.
I do like drinks as long as no one doesn't want to hear about alcohols. It is a subject some people don't like. So provided no one has objections, I'm good with it.
Well, I'm less interested in knowing about alcohol or alcoholic beverages, or even what your favorite drink is, although hopefully someday that would be relevant if we could ever meet up in the post-COVID world. But what I'm interested in is what is the sweetest moment you ever saw while you were bartending?
Not a lot, actually, because I've only done it a few times professionally, sadly.
Oh, okay. See, here I was hoping for like bartender stories.
No, all my cool stories are about when I was working in the hospital and are way too depressing for me to think about by and large. Some of them are very sweet, but,
Yeah,
hospital.
that's not. Yeah, that's not great. Well, I believe our last subject was on sci-fi couples. Did everybody get a chance to answer? I think we started with Ulfrig. I think everybody said something.
Can I throw in a last minute addendum that Spinnerella and Natasha are definitely the cutest sci-fi couple from the new She-Ra cartoon, and their relationship is definitely goals.
No, you can't, Ulfrig. Yeah, of course you can.
Well,
Can
that's
I
their
instead
kid.
say Chrome Dome and Rewind are the cutest couple, even though no one's bothered reading the Transformer comic books?
I don't
But
know
they are
what this is,
adorable and
but I
amazing.
like that. There's gay Transformers, and I'm just learning about this, and my world is just a little bit gayer, and that makes me happy.
There are
Okay.
gay trans Transformers, too.
Okay. My sister knows a lot about Transformers.
You're so excited.
So I've heard this
Please tell
before.
us all of the things. Please share your excitement with us. I love this. This bouncing, this energy.
Are you talking about Lug and a Node or Chrome Dome and Rewind?
Both, I think my sister has mentioned. This is all coming secondhand from my. So picture my excited rant, but coming from my sister. So I'm
Can
trying
I
to
chime in to
translate
correct
that.
things if things go wrong? Because I have read all of these comics. They are wonderful.
Can you just explain it? Because I don't know Transformers.
Sure. So Chrome Dome and Rewind are actually characters from back in the 80s, but in the modern Transformer comics, they are romantically involved. Rewind is a little Transformer who turns into a cassette tape. He's awesome. Chrome Dome turns into a race car, if anyone cares. He has a very shiny head. The top one up here, not the other one. They can't show that in comic books. I mean, they can, but not American, sold in certain places, blah, blah, blah. And so they've been a couple for, gosh, like 9-ish years now? It's been a while. More recently, two new Transformers who are brand new in the new IDW comic universe, Lug and a Node, have arrived in their... They were created. Lug and a Node are Transformers who've traveled the galaxy, and in doing so discovered there's these things that... That's a terrible way. Let me restart. Lug and a Node, like all Transformers, have used no pronouns, or when dealing with other races, male pronouns. But as Transformers who are traveled found out there's another set of pronouns and realized, wait, we like to be called she's. And so they brought that back to the Transformer homeworld. And we're like, wait, you can be a lady. You don't have to just be a dude when you go out. And it brought about a whole renaissance of their culture to a degree. A lot of this is backpedaling because the person who created IRC in this universe did a real shitty job. But we won't talk about that. Anyway, they're also in a romantic partnership together. And it's incredibly adorable. It's written really well. Maggie Scott writes a lot of them currently. She did the Transformer Wingblade series. And any of the Transformer comics by her are amazing.
Nick,
also, any of the ones from The Lost Light, if you want to read about any of this. The Lost Light is a series, or Wingblade. They're both really, really good series, full of lots of Transformers who are also very gay.
Who is clicking a lot right now?
and cool space opera stuff. I didn't actually get into the plot of the books at
Oh.
all, and it's super goofy and silly and fun.
Nick, every time you're talking, I just hear a bunch of clicking. Like, I hear you, but I also hear a bunch of clicking. And I'm not sure if it's a leg jiggle or...
I mean,
Oh, it's gone now.
Transformers, if you guys were 70, that would be about 14. It came out in 84, so you guys are just, I'm right around that perfect age to have seen the G1 stuff and grown up with it. I cannot hear you, Alpaca, or Fliss.
I cannot hear you either, Fliss. Yeah, Nick, Transformers was apparently before my time. I don't know.
Transformers have been
Kristen?
running since 84 in one way or another. The only time it stopped was in the early 90s until Beast Wars came out, which is an amazing series that still holds up once you get past the terrible CG because it is from the 90s.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay. So, I just want to say that one of my favorite things about you guys as my friends, and the things that I tend to treasure in friends in general, but what I especially love about you guys is that you guys are all so knowledgeable about the things that you love. Ulfric knows so much about, like, Star Wars Expanded Universe. If I ever need to know anything, I can go and ask her. Nick, you know so many things about so many comic things. I always know I can go and ask you. Kirsten, you know so many things about so many things. LK, you too. Like, you guys, like, Kirsten, you know all the craft things, and you get so excited when there's a thing that you know about and that you love, and your history of it, and I love you guys so much, and I just want to say that because you're my people. You're the kind of people that I love to be around and spend my time with.
I will say, Kirsten, your excitement for things is contagious, and it makes me really happy whenever I see you get super stoked for something.
Oh, thank
The
y'all.
wiggle.
Yes, absolutely. Galaxian 5, there are so many shades of nerd and massive respect to all of them. Fantasy, sci-fi, math, science, geology, history, religion.
Geology nerds are crazy fun. They're really interesting to
You're
listen
telling
to.
me the majority of the people I work with are geology nerds, and botany nerds are another thing. Oh my gosh. And ornithology nerds, I was surprised to learn how amazing they are. The ones that I haven't really been able to cope with really are entomology nerds, the bug people, and it's mostly because most bugs don't bother me, but some bugs creep me the hell out, and I just cannot do cockroaches at all. And
So I have a
cockroaches
fun
are-
question once you're done. Sorry, Fliss. I interrupted.
I'm
I'm
not
going to shut
going
up.
anywhere in particular, so I'm gonna go ahead and let that stand. Don't send me pictures of cockroaches if you love me. That's all I've got to say.
So what was a big surprise from our story so far for people? Because that seems interesting, and I know I was hit by a few curveballs of what we've done so far.
I think for me, the biggest surprise that I thought was interesting was that the path of perception was not meant for Gale, because it seemed like it was supposed to be for so long, and then when it was laid out that, like, this is not your path, I was like, oh, what? Like, that was so awesome.
Yeah, a lot of those little bitlets. I am honestly really surprised because I just did not expect Celtar to go in the way he's gone character-wise, and it's been really interesting as he's bounced off everybody. The little changes that have been made to his character, which is a cop out because it's about what I've done. It makes me sound egotistical. But like the
Um,
secret.
no, sorry, you're still talking.
No, I was pretty much done. I was just filling space.
You said
Yeah.
the word secret, and now I want to hear it.
It was interesting and everyone's response when Salazar's thing to the orb, because that was something that Gemma and I have baked into his history, and I'd been dropping some hints on. And there's a bit more of that, and I'm excited to see what of your character's secrets are still out there. But then also, we managed to work in really subtly the friendship between Taizo and Celtar, and I really like that, along with the other crew interaction moments. It's just been really fun to meet all of our crew so far.
Um. Uh, let me see. I think the kind of surprising thing that happened would be when Captain Gale exploded the computer and all uh, the dysfunctional family stuff that happened afterwards. Everyone running around completely confused and not knowing what to do, and yeah, it was like, yeah,
That
we still have space to grow. We definitely need to grow more. We are not that as ready as I expected. And uh, when Southern forced Kitten to talk to Taizo, and when the captain came to talk with him during that Vulcan game, and those talks, those little interactions are really fun, really nice. And of course, defeating Seltzer on chess, obviously, because I'm amazing. So
You are quite amazing. Go for it, Kirsten.
Okay. So probably the most unexpected thing was whenever the bomb went off during in the quarters of the Geltrix bar. Who
yeah,
I
just take
huh?
and their bomb in this, and it was
Yeah,
sorry,
the thing that irradiated Taizo and
yes,
Katan, and because I was not expecting that, and that was kind of on me because I think I failed to check horribly.
it was me. I did. We decided. Oh yeah, you can make me have your same number in security. Let's try. What could possibly go wrong?
I feel like though the alternative was having me try to make a science roll, which could have ended worse. And at least I was in front, though. That's
Yeah, I would
one,
have died. I would have passed out if I was on front.
which is why the 6 foot something. Yes, Poe, your whiskers are in the camera now. Which is why the 6 foot something Andorian always stands in front of whatever could possibly explode.
And then they like on the infirmary later, like, this is the second time I exploded something, isn't it? Oh no.
I just found it funny that it happened to the exact same people.
It's like we've gone through so much. We got this. We're better now.
Also, shout out to Nick for having Celtar call Taizo out after that because yeah, she definitely deserved that.
I mean,
And
I
also,
never got to dress down the captain like he had wanted to do, so I felt like he should get to dress down somebody.
That's what happened when you come to talk to a normal and collected person beforehand. They tend to calm you down.
Try it, buddy. You're gonna catch these nose ridges.
also, I feel like we need to shout out Ulfric because, as I recall, there was some very fantastic role playing on their end in a recent session.
Oh yeah, one of the last. I mean, like almost every session, but the last session she really killed some of the bits.
They're really. I'm gonna have to piggyback off this shout out because Ulfric is one of the greatest role players that I've had the privilege to play with. Every time they have a scene, they're able to get into it in a way that I forget that there's Ulfric behind it because Ulfric has this like very confident like I know who I am and I can do this thing, and then Grax is like this scared like almost freshman in college like what am I doing in a position of authority? Who gave me this? Why am I here? And I gotta remember that, like, behind this, Ulfric knows exactly what they're doing, like, and it's so good. And
It
they,
is,
I
and
can,
in her other games, it's so weird to see, having known Grax when I went and started watching the Star Wars thing, to see her other character Oni, and it's like,
I
what are
can't
they
wait.
doing? This is not at all
Yeah, I
what I
can't wait to see
expected.
that someday. I'm gonna have to tune into one of the games where they're playing another kind of character. I haven't caught one yet on Welcome to the Party, but I will. What's up, Kristen?
Oh, I was just saying, I would recommend. I'm pretty sure that the VOD is up on YouTube. There was that one that AJ ran. Ulfric, do you remember? Like you were playing like this very
Oh,
like
that one
whole
was
conniving
amazing. The
character.
blast.
Wait, Nick, were you in that one too?
Yes, I
Okay,
was.
because like I remember there was. I won't spoil the ending. It was Ulfric. Your character was amazing and like the polar opposite of Grax.
Yeah, that was another really good one.
Thank you, fam.
Also, I don't think you shared your bit yet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember more specifics about the moment. It was fairly early on, and I think it was just after we had met the time police dude for the first time, and he started giving us orders, um, including some that like Captain Gale was left out of the loop on. And I remember a couple of us like went up to Captain Gale and were like, so we were told to do this thing and we're really kind of uncomfortable with it. And the response was, well, you have your orders. You have some leeway in how you follow them. Just keep me in the loop because you weren't told not to. And for me, that response like was just so perfect in terms of like, yes, this is absolutely who Gail Ixa is. But also it set that universe so clearly and being so different from games like Star Wars, where like, yeah, there's a military, but people don't give orders and shit. Like, there's a military in abstract and just that sense of here is where the hierarchy is important and here is where it is going to come into play and here's how you still create character within that. I think that was for me a really defining moment early in the campaign.
I remember that, and I remember like it's one of these hard things that like having been in the military myself, I know that sometimes you get some orders and you have to most of the time in the real military, there's not enough room to like interpret orders broadly. But it depends on where in the chain that you are. At the point where Gale is, she tends to receive the orders that are broadly interpreted. Because usually coming from admirals to captains, it's, hey, go do this thing. And then the captain
Here's
has
your
to figure out.
objective you can kind of figure out
Right.
within these parameters.
Right. Within the rules, the way that Starfleet does things, here's the book that Starfleet does things by, go do things. And then the captain's got to figure it out. And this was definitely one of those moments where I was like, I ain't, like, subjecting my crew to some other person's... Not, like, this isn't an admiral. But Starfleet... I was like, I don't trust Starfleet intelligence, but at the same time... I have to trust. It's one of those weird hypocrisy things. So, yeah. Definitely, that was a fantastic moment. Yeah, absolutely. What let's evolve this question. Where are some places you'd like to take your characters in the future of Into the Black?
I really want, I've mentioned this behind the scenes a couple of times. If we ever structure this kind of like a TV series where one episode, one of the plot lines might focus kind of specifically on one character, I would love for one of those small plot lines to be Grax having trouble with a shift lead in engineering and really having to come to grips with you are the leader of this section and you have to take responsibility for that, and sometimes you're going to have to make people listen to you.
Oh, I would absolutely play. I would play an enlisted in engineering to support that episode. Just have a whole Grax episode where, you know, Grax is the only normal character from Into the Black and the rest of us are just like supporting characters for the episode. I think that would be super fun. And maybe do that for some of the other ones, like do one with LK, where we're all scientists on an away mission, and maybe one of us...
I know there's a particular cat scientist. LK is dying to keep that interact again.
She's not a scientist, not a scientist, not a scientist. She's security. I'm safe, Nick. I knew you were gonna bring her up. I knew. No, bad Nick.
Let's talk about Lieutenant Commander Celtar Radat, because this is the Lieutenant Commander in a helm position, and I kind of feel like I don't know for sure if and I should because I'm the captain, right? If you're serving in the ops position, I feel like you should serve in the ops position as a Lieutenant Commander. That's sort of within the scope of your rank. But right now you're the chief flight controller. So where do you see, what's the future hold for Celtar Radat? Does he get his own captain's chair someday? Is he looking at the first officer role? What do you want? What do you want for his future?
Oh, what Celtar wants is you are his goal. So as you are promoted up the ranks, he is planning to come behind to support you in whatever endeavors you do. So no, he's not planning to move ahead to get his own captaincy until you're in the admiral chair, Captain.
So you're Rikering the helm position is what you're telling me.
I mean, if Taizo decides to go somewhere else, he'd take the commander position, but he respects her too much to take it from her.
If Taizo ever becomes a captain, which I'm iffy on if that could ever actually happen, she's going to try to get Celtar to be her first officer.
Oh, that would be really fun for a near-end scenario. I don't know what would happen there.
I'm not gonna lie.
On the whole, Celtar's big story is to figure out, much like Worf before him, do you be a Cardassian and a Starfleet? How do I merge those ideals? And by and large, he mostly is like, well, we're both, it's service. But there's this whole undercurrent as he slowly is learning kind of how to live life, frankly, and how to not just be dedicated to the whole.
I have to be honest that for Gail, what I imagine is that her path doesn't end happily, which isn't to say that she ends up badly, but that she doesn't live happily ever after. Whether it's in the Dominion War or before that, I very much envision Gail doing something that will get her killed, and then I would come back as some other character in some other role. I'm definitely not killed in like I don't want to play this game, but like a major dramatic point in this story where Taizo, whether she's ready or not, has to step up to become captain, and then Celtar has to step up to become the XO, and then there's this new person who becomes part of the bridge crew, the Esri Dax, and that's sort of as a player, sort of my goal. Gail, she'd like to happily retire someday on Bajor, on a free Bajor, but I really don't see that in her future. That's my perception of it. She does too much dangerous shit, and that's sort of why she does so much dangerous. It's why you guys are constantly reprimanding her for doing dangerous shit. I'm not trying to rush it, but I'm trying to make it in character for her to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Hi. Kitten is someone that I don't see him ever getting the captain chair. Not that he wouldn't be qualified, because he's incredible. He's an amazing scientist, but the way I see him, the way he acts, and the scars that led, the scars that he got on Wolf 359 will never leave him. So it doesn't matter how much support he ends up getting in this new family of his, because I can only see one end for him, and that he'll probably die doing the same thing that his friend did for him.
We'll go out together. Saving the rest of the crew.
Not if I have anything to say about it. Gosh darn it.
Of course not. It would never be if you have anything to say about it. It could only happen if you don't have anything to say about it. Oh man.
If your character getting
Gemma
exploded,
is
he's gonna go out saving you. So look out.
I don't think we've heard from Ulfrid yet on this question, have we?
Oh, where would we like to
make
go?
sure you put the chat.
Where do we sort of envision our characters going? And then we can spin off. Sorry to interrupt. We can sort of spin off to your version of the questions, which is where do we see each other's characters going?
Yeah, I have to admit, I kind of play games with ideas for stories rather than like, this is where I think they'll end up. I think what I'm excited to explore more with Grax is how they're kind of tempering their Betazoid uh, telepathy with Vulcan meditation techniques. And so I'm really curious if they're like to keep kind of bouncing off other crew members and seeing them develop that proficiency and find out if they become more comfortable with command, if they're like, no, I really want to stick with the computers and really keep my head down here, and I'm not really interested in the command track. Like, that's a big question mark that I have for them.
Legit.
So where do we see each other's characters going? Because
I think Kirsten has a hand.
yeah.
I just wanted to, because I sort of answered my thing, but I just kind of wanted to kind of build off of what Ulford was saying, because I don't actually have a direction for sure where Taizo is going. It's just kind of going with the story.
Sure.
And yeah.
That's totally legit. There's no reason why you have to have writing on the wall. I think it works especially well for Gale because she's Bajoran, because she's a religious Bajoran. She's a believer in the prophets, and so she sort of does have this destiny. That's not necessarily something that can be applied to every Starfleet officer. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, least of all Gale, but she has the prophets guiding her, and I think that that's definitely something that is however she meets her end, the prophets are going to take her up like into the celestial temple. I think that's a big definite thing, and I happen to know a little bit about Gemma, and she's not a big fan of the negative, so I'm not expecting Gale to eat it. She's not likely to bite the big bazooka, and I'm not trying to pressure that either. I'm not going to run headlong into death per se, but I will run headlong into dangerous situations. It's also interesting to do that kind of thing. So, I'm not a Picard. I'm not even a Janeway. I'm a little bit more of a Kirk in my captaincy style, but I'm like a Kirk with Janeway vibes. So, I'm definitely, I've definitely got my hey EXO away mission. This is your thing, but other times I'm like, you know what? I gotta be involved in this. This is my crew. Their lives are at stake. So, sorry if I'm getting more loud about that. My beverage is almost empty.
It's all good. Ulfric, did you want to start first with the other question?
I just kind of want to throw it out there, which is what are folks really excited or curious to see other people at the table explore? Like what questions do you have about other people's characters, and where do you want to see them go?
I think before we started, there was definitely this attitude that I had where I wasn't interested in seeing any romance develop between any characters, and now I'm like, I'm okay with now I know people, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to see. I would love to see a sort of polycule develop between Grax and Radat and LK that has this sort of very peculiar quality to it where LK and Radat have this friendship that sort of evolves into a little bit more, but it's confrontational because they're
Kitten.
competitive. Sorry, Kiten has this. No, LK specifically. No, Kiten and Radat have this relationship that it's good and wholesome, but it's also competitive, and I want that to sort of evolve into something nice, but also a little bit fraught, while at the same time Grax is able to work through their feelings with Radat, because I feel that the relationship between Radat and Grax was something that was good and wholesome and has not yet been explored enough. And I think that there's a sort of natural chemistry between them that really works, at least from my point of view. But not necessarily anything that has to be long term, just like we're going to try this thing out. So, like, not to put too much onus on Nick or his character, but he's the one who I sort of see being in the troubled relationships. He's the Garrick of the situation. He's got Zial on one side and he's got Bashir on the other, and there's just so much, good ass around. He just doesn't know what to do about it. Accepting, of course, that Zial was too young. But
And changed actress 3 times.
I'm sorry, what?
And changed actress 3 times, so it's weird.
Well, we don't talk about that. Anyway, that's what I would like to
That's
see.
sad, and also not good sign about your character if the actress keep changing. It's not gonna go forward. Sad face.
Truth. Hashtag truth. Okay, down in Brazil, pouring out that tea.
I couldn't get that down in Brazil for okay? For what?
Pouring out that tea. Truth.
Ah, right.
Big T truth.
Well, that's awkward.
It's interesting because what Celtar wants and what I want in the development is very different. Celtar really wants to try and help get the people under his command. No, not his command exactly, but the lieutenants, to have them be confident and well-rounded individuals. That's important. The same way he's attached to Ixla, the people under him, he wants to make sure are lifted up. But me personally, I kind of like chaos a little more, and so I really want to see some big old roadblocks show up again that really push Kitan and especially Taizo, because I don't think we've gotten to see her darker bits enough yet.
Yes,
and I really want some of that to pop in.
I legit want to see Taizo in a goddamn knife fight. Like, I so want this. It is so not Star Trek, and I don't care.
My stats are so geared toward physical combat at the expense of me being able to do any science whatsoever. Okay?
I always recreate the bar fight scene from the original.
We need to teleport. We just need to teleport her down onto a planet with a single Gorn and let them go at each other.
Will there be crystals involved?
Just an Ushan Tor and some rocks.
And I will probably win. Hopefully.
Oh, hell yeah. I didn't say it was going to be a fair fight.
Kirsten and a Gorn at the island.
Even if it was Kirsten and a Gorn, I'd still be scared for the Gorn.
No, I'm like 5'2", and like my greatest strength is that people usually feel bad when like they make me feel bad. I got a free slice of cheesecake because of that one time. He didn't even do anything that bad. He was just talking. He was just teasing his friend, and I didn't realize they knew each other. And then I got a piece of cheesecake out of it. I mean, I
don't know. I kind of want to see Gordon like swipe at you and then be like, "Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. What did I do?" And then you just shiv him after his dog gets dropped.
Exactly. You're like, I've got this hat pin. Ah!
Yes, I usually actually have a variety of sharp objects on my person. Scissors, pins. I literally have a box of pins that I like just stabbed myself with on accident because I decided to open them.
Oh, please be careful.
I I picked them up instead of my fidget cube.
So, Kirsten, what do you want to see about other people?
Okay, so not to like completely harp on Grax's love life, I will just say that I want Grax to find happiness. Whatever form that will take for them, I just want them to find happiness because they have so many good options. And I'm just like, you go. Pick whatever you want.
This is the upside to playing the ship cinnamon role. People want good things for your character.
Yes.
It's good. It's good.
And then Nick, I really want Celtar to go back and like talk to that Cardassian lady again, just because I am super curious about her character. I really want to know more about her. LK, mostly I just kind of want to have like more scenes between, like, I just sort of like wish Ten could like grow and learn more as like a person because he is so good, and I want him to know that he's good at all of the things because he is.
He knows.
He knows that. He's amazing.
Then why is the kitty sad?
Because he doesn't think he's good enough.
Because nobody else is
because
as
I
good
can
as
be
him.
better.
You don't have to be better. We love you for
Yes,
who you
I
are.
do. If I'm not better, people die.
You're a good kitty. We give you the treats.
No.
Do you want to wear the crown?
Do I need to keep a bag of cat treats on the bridge?
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, I will keep a bag of cat treats on the bridge for you.
Ah. What
So
did I do
in
to
fairness,
deserve this blatant
Fels,
stereotypes?
in fairness, Nick, I do want Celtar to have happiness. I just also want him to lose it.
I want Celtar to be happy, but I also want to figure out the thing that Taizo doesn't know that she thinks she knows.
I think the thing that's tricky about Celtar being happy is Celtar as a character seems so gosh dang determined to make himself unhappy.
Yeah.
That it's really hard to imagine the amount of growth that it takes to get to that point of happiness. But it's something that, like, yeah, I want to see that too. I want to see him forgive himself and give himself permission to be okay being happy for a bit.
That's sort of why I imagine like the relationships that he would have with other crew members on the ship wouldn't end up working out. It's not because anything's wrong with any of them in particular. It's just that Celtar's not really in the spot to be in the relationships that he would be good in if he was in the spot to be in those relationships. And by having those relationships, it brings him to a point where he can have a positive relationship with somebody else, say the female Cardassian. I think that is having more than one relationship is a good way to approach that. My phone is buzzing and it's saying absolutely nothing. I have no idea what's going on. There's no calls coming in.
That's a thing
Now
called
it's-
phantom ring syndrome.
Now it's telling... No, it was literally buzzing. And it's telling me now that I missed a call from Jeffrey. So I need to text him.
The giraffe from Toys R Us?
No, my friend Jeff.
That was a deep pull, by the way. I'm kind of impressed with that.
So
Especially because he's gone now.
No, that's why I was happy he had a friend he could call and talk to.
This is also another thing that I would like to see. I actually would like to see Kiten in charge of the ship. I don't know how it would come about. But I suspect there could be a lot of fun playing with Kiten, both kind of knowing exactly what he's good at, but also that like little bit of bravado of like, I could be better because I'm using that to cover up the fact that I'm actually kind of insecure about these things that I'm good at, or trying to hide these things I know I'm not good at. I love the way that Key10 owns his awesome, by the way. I think that's like legit. I think more people need to do that. And I'm so glad that's part of his character. I really think there's a lot of fun opportunities to play there with kind of how that irks or rubs up against some of the people that he winds up directing.
I feel like I missed something good.
Uh, in that same boat, I really want to see Gratz managing to get the confidence as well. Uh, Getting more confidence in her skills because unlike Ten, who knows he's perfect and amazing, yeah, Gratz hasn't come to that point yet, so it's gonna be fun seeing her getting there.
Thinking of, did we decide who won that kart race?
Oh, I'm
What race?
pretty sure that you guys were on the same one. Didn't you see the fan art?
I don't think we did. I'd like to
Okay.
say though, that I don't think winning was the point of the race. So
Not.
And
When-
Nick's like,
when-
maybe not for you.
What's the
I
What's
would
the
remember it, but
we are going to
beyond
win?
that was not
You
the
think
point of
would-
the exercise. Although he has to figure out how to try and get a race track in the Jeffrey True without the captain noticing, and that's going to be really tricky.
Yeah, that is going to be really tricky because it's not just the captain you got to look out for. The EXO's also on my side about that not being a good idea. Isn't that right, EXO?
Wait. Is she? I mean, if you can justify it, you just have to like sell it as like using it to physically transport sensitive materials that shouldn't be transported through the transporter. Like, have you guys never heard of coming up with an alibi?
alibi,
I mean-
yes.
I don't know about where this conversation is going.
Don't worry, Captain. I will not let them actually build it.
There's a holodeck for that.
Sutter, listen to me. You can always set up a computer, and the captain will have no choice but to go out and explode it. And
She doesn't destroy every
when
computer,
they do
Ted.
it, when they do it, Taizo will go nuts, and you have to go and save her, and then that's when you can do your race.
Actually, I have it in my notes that the next time the captain does something, Celtar gets to chew her out.
Yeah, it's my turn. We talked about it.
I feel like Grax would come in with the parent energy and just be like, "You've been taking a lot of risks lately, and I'm getting worried about you, and like I don't know what to say or how to reach you. I just don't want you to keep taking risks like this when you don't have to."
I'm not mad.
Well,
Just
from what Fliss has said, we'll all get a chance to come and have a one-on-one with her about taking risks. So,
This is true. Yeah, I kind of have an open door policy about this kind of thing. Like, anybody that wants to come talk to the captain about anything is welcome to do so whenever, comma, it is appropriate. Because perhaps
so most
in the
of the
middle
time.
in the middle of like space combat with, ancient Klingons, not the greatest time for a comment to the captain about how dangerous everything is.
If we
I would
fight
just-
ancient Klingons, can I just like challenge one of them to a duel? Because that might end the fight quicker.
yes,
Yeah.
but I are. Is that the plan currently? I'd hope we're.
Let's
I
wait
thought we
until
were
we come up
doing
across this.
targeted
We're
time
going
travel
against the
this time.
Nakul this time, so we have to worry about that first. Once we've dealt with the Nakul, we'll worry about the Klingon.
Yeah.
One thing I'm
That
curious.
before or sorry, you can go ahead. I was going to make a joke. I
One
was just going to. Sorry, we're going to interrupt each other.
Okay. Alfred
Amazing.
first, then LK. Go.
So one thing I'm really curious to see with Gale, and I'm not sure how this works. Like my GM brain, what little I have of it, is going, how do you do that without just pissing off a player? But I'm really curious, like, is there a way to make Gale kind of face her own helplessness at some point, where she can't be the one to take that risk? And how does she react to that situation?
I think that's absolutely a feasible goal. I think it's definitely something that Gemma and I would have to talk about in advance, where I know that there's going to be a situation coming up where I'm going to be helpless. I don't have to know what it is or what form it's going to take, but knowing that that thing is coming within a session is more ameliorating, because the ultimate payoff has to be that I can do something, just not the thing that I need to do, because the point of that is to demonstrate her helplessness. And then it's one of those things that's like, in the moment, I'm going to be like, fuck, I can't do any of the things. But in retrospect, I could be like, okay, well, we talked about this, so I can't, get mad. And even if she doesn't feel good about talking to me about it beforehand, I know Jem is a good enough communicator to come out afterward and be like, hey, so we went through a rough session today. I think this has happened before, is we will go through something. Hey, we went through a rough session today. I hope you're not, you seemed a little frustrated in the stream. I hope you're not mad. I just want you to know that we did this for entertainment purposes. And that kind of thing, reaching out afterwards, it really helps. So that's a really good, just a technique as a GM, from my perspective, as a GM and a storyteller. I would say, talk to your players, either talk to them beforehand. If you can, talk to them afterwards. If it's getting to a point where it's bad enough in the middle of things, stop and talk to them right then. Say, hey, things are getting a little out of control. I want you to know that this is because as a GM, part of your goal is to really challenge the players, and Gemma really does that. And it's also to root for the characters in your game. And if you're GM and you're not rooting for the characters in your game, who are you even telling the story for? Because when I go to a game and I'm being a GM, it's because I want to see Grex being the best engineer in Starfleet. It's because I want to see Radat piloting through space and time on the back of spatial anomalies. It's because I want to see LK. It's because I want to see Lieutenant Kiten inventing new forms of space travel. And it's because I want to see Taizo beating Gale at a game of of racquetball and being like, yes, got you, good game, Captain. Now let's go pilot this ship and explore space. You really have to. I mean, I'm obviously this case. I'm not the GM, but you have to go root for your players. You have to love who they're bringing to the table, and if you can't do that, you need to examine what it is that you like about the game, and that really involves about really, because I have preferences, and my own preferences tend to be like, I get worried about edge lords in particular. I worry about people who like really dark things, and as I've been thinking about this, I've had to sit back and go, why is it that I don't like those things? And so as a GM, you really have to be open and accepting, and you still have to be
Ulfric
able
has
to,
an answer for that.
yeah, you still have to, but you still have to be at a point where you can say, hey, you know, I love your character's dark and broody concept. This is, however, a team game. How are you going to fit into the team with your dark and broody concept? If you don't, I'm going to have to ask you, as the arbiter of the rules, to change it so that you do. Not because I hate your character concept, but because this is a team-based game, and you guys do all have to work together, because I'm not telling a story for each and every one of you individually, although I'm telling a story about everybody. And so I've been rambling now. I'm sorry. I have finished my drink. So I will let Ulfric answer, because I know they had a good answer for that.
It was more about why I know why I'm uncomfortable with edgelords. And it's because often, not always, but often, um, though, unless the game is specifically designed to tackle tough issues, a lot of edgelording just kind of takes for granted positions of privilege within difficult issues. So this is a world in which, for example, sexual assault exists, but I, the player, take for granted that I will never be sexually assaulted. And it's not discussed, it's not brought up as like what would happen if this were part of a storyline. And I think it's really dismissive of those things. And that's why I tend to be really suspicious of edgelords and say, I am going to run games that take place on the elemental plane of Marshmallow, because the elemental plane of Marshmallow is a thing that I made up and it's delightful. And there are chocolate fish there, which no one outside of Australia or New Zealand knows what they are, but they are absolutely fantastic.
I think I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I like what I'm imagining.
It's a little, like, it's like the Santas that you get in North America, where they're marshmallow on the inside and chocolate on the outside, but in the shape of a fish.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And so that's why I tend to be very nervous about edgelords, and the things that I like to say about that to players who want to go that direction is anything that you're wanting to inflict on another character, whether it's an NPC or a PC, I want you to think about if you're okay with that happening to your character. Because if you're not, we're going to make that a veil in the game.
Yeah, it's and there's things about this that are important. My favorite system for dealing with objectionable content in games that I've been introduced to is the X card system, which is easily Googleable. It's a little bit harder to implement over online games, which is the majority of what I've been playing these days. But through Roll20, Tabletop Simulator, or even if I'm just playing over voice, my whole thing is, listen, if we come up against something that makes you uncomfortable and you DM me just the letter X, we will stop and we will figure out how to proceed from that direction. Do we back up and pretend that it never happened? Do we fade to black and skip until after it happened? We don't have to discuss what it is that made you uncomfortable in particular, except to the point where I need to know what it is that we're cutting out. And knowing about those kinds of things ahead of time can really help. I know that not everybody keeps those things in mind all the time. But
And it's easy to forget something till you're in the moment and you're
Yeah.
like, oh wow, this is super uncomfortable.
yeah,
Or be in a game and go, oh, I didn't know that was a thing, but it is.
sure. And there are some things that I just, as a GM, will omit as a rule, and these are things like violence against children, sexual violence against anyone. Um, uh, those are the two big ones. Extreme gore, I will be wishy washy on because I do like to exaggerate some things when I'm playing Pathfinder or D&D, as you leap through the air and slice the head off a goblin or something very cartoony and very kind of bogus anime like blood spurts and things are if they if the audience is there for it, cool, but know your audience, because some people are very uncomfortable with that kind of thing, and so it's good to really make sure. I forgot how we got on this topic now, but again, empty glass.
I feel like I have one more question, partly because I know Gemma is watching. So it's a little bit sneaky and evil, which is if you could make one request of Gemma for something to happen in game, what would that be?
That is sneaky.
Okay.
Not
That,
saying Gemma has to do them.
okay.
Some of these ideas are
Okay.
going to be shit, but that's okay.
You actually brought back to the thing I was going to say before. So here it goes. Holodeck episode.
Said holodeck episode. Okay,
Holodeck episode.
that's a good one. That's a good one. My request.
I'm going to follow.
Oh, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
So I'm going to follow that up with the other fun, weird icebreaker style, and say Mirrorverse episode. Just fade out Mirrorverse. We're all our character, or maybe we're all pick a different character to mirror.
Yes. Okay. So my request is not as fun, but it's after we finish our current wibbly wobbly timey wimey thing mission. No more time stuff. We're done with the time stuff. We just do space exploration. It's not boring. There's a lot of shit in space. Make up some aliens. Let's go. I don't mind the time travel stuff. It's just headachy to like figure out where we are. Where are we in time?
It'd be nice to have a break for at least a little while and go, okay, we are boldly going in this era for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, ooh, we got back, and then we tumbled into another time travel storyline.
Which
I
I think
mean-
Alternate timeline in which everyone is Acacian. Except Kiten.
We did that. Oh, we didn't do that.
Oh no.
My wish is really minor and character centric. I would really like for Grax to find a mentor who listens and gives kind of small bits of advice. But definitely with the listening first. I think that would be a really interesting relationship to explore. Throwing that out there for Gemma and for anyone on this Zoom call.
Help Grax Grok.
So my thing was also mirror universe because I just love it.
And
You
I
want
already
Kaiser with a
the
goatee.
sash.
imagine
Yes. And I already have like the gold sash. Okay.
imagine what Nick would look like with a mustache and a goatee. You can't do it. You can't imagine him with facial hair, can you?
Now, if we do a Mirrorverse episode, I'm going to just shave the mustache and goatee and just have the crazy Wolverine sideburns.
Yes, amazing.
In my head, what you look like with the mustache and goatee is a little bit. I apologize in advance. It's a little bit Ian McKellen from Flash Gordon.
So I'd like to bring up a challenge about the Mirror Universe episode, flying in the face of everything that I said about canon before, is that we have a Cardassian and a Bajoran who would be part of the Klingon Cardassian alliance and not Starfleet. So it's entirely possible that 2/5 of our crew would be set against the rest of you, who would ostensibly be rebelling from Starfleet anyway because none of you are humans.
Amazing!
Wait, does this mean... Sorry, this might be the closest I ever get to come to playing a Maquis in Star Trek, and that's like my dream in life, okay?
We got the full Kirsten Wiggle. Now we got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, the Klingon book is beautiful. It's a great book. Definitely, yes. That's a thing that we could probably organize. We could do it. See, so this is my thing, is if we pick a big holiday to do it for, Halloween or Christmas or something, we could make it a special game for that day. Because I'm assuming we're still going to be playing in Halloween. I see no reason why we wouldn't. So...
The only thing is I work most holidays now, but Halloween is not like a recognized holiday by anyone for some reason. I don't know why.
It doesn't have to be like on the holiday itself. Really, to be a Halloween game, it just has to be in the month of October.
Or every game in the month of October.
Yeah, just do every game in the month of October is Mirror Universe, and we'll just have a 4-episode Mirror Universe arc. And it'll be very 2020. But Mirror Universe 2020.
Where everything is amazing.
Yeah.
So...
And the fascists are not in control.
That's...
Oh, that artist is not here. We are in the mirror universe. Oh no.
Okay, look, but like you have to remember, we actually are not in the worst timeline. The worst timeline is when everything happens and no one did anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are
That
not
doesn't
very
sound
good
too far off
timeline.
from where we're at. No one,
Yeah, but
no one who can do anything has done anything about it.
true, but that phrase is also like the only thing that's like keeping me running at this point. That and like coffee and like sheer aggressive optimism.
Well, I
So
don't want
that's
to take
just what
any of
I'm
those
running
things
on.
away from you. None of them. So by all means,
It's all good.
we're not in the worst timeline, and holy hell,
I
would
mean,
definitely never take coffee away from anybody. Not even my enemies.
Thank you.
I
Can I-
just like coffee, so if someone gives it to me, can you take it away? Because, yeah.
Can I say my favorite silly sci-fi trope is when a universe wants to have coffee, but they don't want to call it coffee for whatever reason. So they're like calf or hot brown morning potion or, they make up some sort of really silly name like claw or what have you. And it's like, just say coffee. We all know that it's actually coffee.
Okay, in Paranoia, it's called Hot Brown Fun. And I fucking
Oh,
love
cool.
it.
Now that just sounds like it's something illegal.
All right, so we're at the 3-hour mark.
Not if friend computer gives it to you, Kirsten.
We're at the 3-hour mark.
Because friend computer is never wrong.
And I did want to bring this up. I do want to bring this up. while I've got you guys here, because we're basically at the end of our stream tonight. Yeah, Gemma wants to run a paranoia campaign. Guess what? I also want to run a paranoia campaign. I have paranoia on Tabletop Simulator, and I already have the graphics set up for this style of running a game on Apocalypse Games. So, Gemma, I would love to have you as a player in Paranoia. I would love to just do rotating GMs, but what I would like to do is establish a Paranoia night once a month. We establish a game. We could do rotating GMs, rotating players. If you guys are down, we could play Paranoia. The beautiful thing about it is the way that Mongoose Publishing has it set up is you sit at the table and you make your characters, and then you pass them to the person on your left, and the person on your left fucks up something about your character and then passes it back to the right so that you all hate each other before the game starts. And it's brilliant. And
I have only ever like one super loose one shot of Paranoia. I do not understand the rules at all, but I laughed my butt off in that one
Alfred,
shot, so I am
that's
in.
to your benefit. Knowing the rules is above your clearance level. All right, and with that, we're gonna wrap it up. We have been streaming for about 3 hours. We did do a 10-minute break in the middle, but it's our quitting time at 9:30. So we're gonna wrap things up. We're gonna say goodbye. Let's do the opposite order that we said hello in, which I think is Ulfrig, Alk, Nick, and then Kirsten, and then me.
Hello, I go by Ulfrig on the interwebs. It's not very easy to find me on social media because that's not my jam, but you can find me on Discord and Twitch quite a bit. I'm part of the team behind Welcome to the Party's Monday night one-shot series side quests, including Knights of the Kitchen Table is coming up this coming Monday, and then Kirsten is running Cigarettes and Cyborgs and Cigarettes, and Nick, are you running something? Did I make that up? You're running Glitter Hearts. Yes, Nick is running Glitter Hearts. I am legit super excited for that game because Glitter Hearts is magical girls and gay feelings, and that's what I'm about. And on Tuesday nights, you can catch me over on Shay Foxy's channel, where I play a fae person who can transform into animals and who abuses that privilege at every possible turn. That also tends to start about 6:15 Pacific, depending on when everyone gets home and we're able to get our tech up and running. Yeah, that's me.
Hi, my name is LK, and I mostly stay away from things on the internet, but as you can see, I have a Twitter up here. It's the Twitter I used to secretly follow most of the people on the crew because I thought it was funny. So, yeah, if you want to follow it, I have like a ton of I like a ton of Nick stuff and Kirsten, and please secretly before they knew it was me. So yeah, and I just show up on Stargirl's Twitch channel if you want to. Probably know her. She's amazing, and she's on chat. So yeah.
I'm Nick. I have been trying to figure out who the person who I didn't know retweeting and liking a bunch of stuff has been. So this has been wonderful night for me. So I'm like, I don't know who this person is exactly.
I don't retweet. You're spreading fake news. I never retweet anything. I just like it.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I am at fell_strike here, and on Twitter. On the 10th, I'll be running Glitter Hearts at Welcome to the Party. Several of the people in this room are going to be in it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also creating an RPG with a similar theme. So I'm excited to run Glitter Hearts because it's interesting to see what other people do with the same design space.
Do I go now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hello, I am Kirsten. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kirsten Crafts. Currently on Instagram, I am working on a Rapunzel cosplay, and I am about to start the Stays Fest thing that is going to take part of my soul. So come and watch that happen. Also, like you can see on the thing that I have a YouTube channel. It's Kirsten Curses About. There will be more videos up there soon. It's a thing.
And my name is Felicity. I am on Twitter at RadmissFliss. I'm at most places at RadmissFliss. You can find my Alpaca Lunch streams at Alpaca Lunch on YouTube. There's a couple Alpaca Lunches. You're going to look for the one that has a lunchbox as the logo. That's me. And thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you all. I'm on Into the Black on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I will be on Glitter Hearts on August 10th. I will be on Cyborgs and Cigarettes on August 17th. And I am running a game of Tales from the Loop on side quests on August 31st as well. So we are still looking for players for that. So by all means, look me up on Discord. I am RadmissFliss number 5149. You can send me a direct message there, and we will get you set up with everything that you need. Love you all. Have a good night. Bye.